Ready to go live.
All right.
Oh, shit. I forgot. Welcome to Dipato. How's everybody doing today? Thank you guys. We're really excited. Once again, Simon is working the night shift, so he won't be joining us, but look for his video tomorrow on the recap of this video. Tonight, I'm super excited because I have Maya, XRP Queen, and her husband, Chris, here to chat about the film Rigged from the Start, aka XRP Unleashed, that came out recently. And so we're excited to talk with them about that. I have Miss Brooke here, who is also in the film. She's going to share some of her insights and experience with being part of this film. Miss Amanda Jones, Optimistic Prime, joining me to talk about some of the things that she knows about and in her take on the film. And also we have Kita, which is our regular co-host, fill in for Simon. We'll be sharing hers insight. And in about a half hour, Chris from Fruition Productions will be joining us to talk about the film specifically. So right now we've got 15 people in here. How are you ladies doing tonight? Everyone good? Everyone good? I want to say hi to the new mindset. And Mr. Simon says crypto's in the chat and stir crazy. If you guys would share this out so we can get more people in the stream, that would be awesome. So I guess for this first half hour or so, first I want to say happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Do you guys have any holiday plans going? I know the night before Thanksgiving is usually a really busy time of the year. Do you have any holiday plans that you're cooking for tomorrow? We'll start with Brooke and then kind of go around the room.
I've been cooking all day. So this is so nice to come and like chill out for a little bit, get away from all the festivities, get away from, feeling a little bit overstimulated with people and family, just a little bit of time away. It's nice. So I'm so happy to be here.
What's your main dish that you like to cook?
Okay,
Your
so
specialty?
a sweet potato casserole. It's amazing. And I do like a bourbon bacon pecan brulee on top. So I like get a
Ooh.
torch and like
Whoa.
burn it. So
Nice.
Ooh. Nice.
that's all
What
the cooking
about
tomorrow.
what about you, Amanda?
Well, I'm a Canadian, so actually our Thanksgiving was a month ago. And I had my vacation with Maya and Chris last week, so that was my Thanksgiving. And but I have a lot of family in the States, and so I wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. And there's so much to be thankful for.
Thank you very much. Miss Kita, I know you. I know you're cooking.
I am. I just put my turkey in the brine not too long ago, so that'll go in the morning. And I have everything under the sun to make, from greens to mac and cheese and pies and all the things. So
Ah.
it'll be good stuff.
What about you, Maya?
You don't want me to cook your Thanksgiving. I'm not much of a chef. But Chris and I, we will be going down to San Clemente to, both my brothers live there. So we'll have someone else cook a Thanksgiving for us, but visiting family, nieces and nephews. And we're excited. We haven't seen them in a long time. So, yeah, it should be fun.
Very cool.
It'll be
Yeah,
fun.
Thanksgiving is the time for family, and
Yeah.
myself, I don't celebrate Thanksgiving until Saturday. I have my boys and their kids, and my sister and brother and sister-in-law. And, everyone, kind of crams into our little house. So I'm going to be spending tomorrow cleaning my house, cleaning my house, and then waiting to get the rest of the things to make the food. And I'm like, oh boy, I'm kind of like you. I can cook a couple of things really good. One, believe it or not, is prime rib. I do a killer prime rib. Turkey, hit
Uh-huh.
or miss for it, but I'm really looking forward to family and just hanging out and playing some silly games, and hopefully the kids feel comfortable and they don't want to leave after 2 hours, because we all know we go to those family functions and it's like you're giving your man the eye, like it's time to go, yeah, get the hell out of here,
Too much
but
family. No,
yeah, exactly.
it
But
was actually, I have a story. It's so funny because I think our first Thanksgiving, we weren't sure. We had never cooked a turkey before, and I don't know why Chris got like a 23-pound turkey. I'm like,
wow.
holy shit, what are we doing with it? This is two of us. We ate it for like 2 months. But it was fun. It was interesting. Sorry to interrupt there, Melissa. But yeah.
No, I think, you know what? I actually have a friend. I went and visited her, and her husband, he had an irritable stomach. There's
Uh-huh.
certain things he could eat, and turkey was one of them. So they
Oh.
every Sunday made a turkey, and
Oh
then
my
he
gosh.
would he would cut it up in little packages enough for a sandwich, and he put them in individual baggies in the freezer, and then he just pulled them out all week long and had his turkey sandwich every day. I mean, how much low cost, healthy, where it came from,
Yeah.
and I'm
Right,
like,
right.
very great idea. And right now you can pick up turkeys for pennies on the dollar. I mean,
Yeah.
it's in terms of like price per pound. So
Are you
I've considered doing it
dark meat
myself.
or light meat? Which
Yeah.
one? Which one?
He did
Dark or
both.
light?
He
Nice.
did both. Like that, like I think most of the packages that he was sharing with me were white meat, but I
Ah,
think he had some dark meat in there because well, they also make homemade dog food.
uh-huh.
So I think they probably used that for the dog food, the stuff that they didn't want to eat. But yeah, pretty interesting.
I do
Pretty
You
something
interesting.
know,
actually. I do something pretty interesting too with the leftovers.
Uh-huh.
Um, my kids always want the hand pies that come afterwards. So I take
mm,
a little bit of everything, the turkey, the dressing, macaroni and cheese, greens, and stuffing if I have it, and then some cranberry sauce and gravy, and put those inside of a crust and basically make a like a almost like a pot pie, but
Yeah.
so you guys know I live on a farm and I
yes.
run a farm, and so our turkey's very fresh, if that makes sense.
Yeah, man.
And like the
Awesome.
whole, it's so weird because like that we, process it and the kids pluck the feathers and it's from
Oh
Oklahoma.
wow.
So that's a
Oh my
little
goodness.
tradition
Oh
for us.
my
I
gosh.
know.
Do you spend all year like you get a turkey the day after Thanksgiving, you raise it for a whole 11
You don't have
months
to
and then
raise
you
it
kill
for
it?
that long.
Oh,
You can
okay.
hatch them. They grow pretty fast, and
Oh,
you feed them out.
poor little turkey.
I
Oh
I mean,
man.
That's what we do
it's
with
Do
nice.
ducks.
it.
We're very ethical, and like they're
Yeah.
treated really well. And
Of
like you
course,
said,
of
if you
course.
know where your meat comes from, like it's
Yep.
so
We
Uh,
used to have we used to have broiler chickens, and it
mm,
was amazing how quick they grew,
yeah.
and they were like the biggest chicken legs I've ever seen in my life. They were just huge. They would get so big, and I do miss it. I have to say, initially when my ex-husband brought them home, a bunch of little baby chicks in a box and put them in my laundry room, I was pissed off, man. I did not want, I had like little kids and, I'm like, what are we going to do? I'm not a farmer. But I secretly liked it, to be honest with you. And I think I would do it again. We had laying birds too. And it was a good experience. It was really good for the kids. So good for you guys, Brooke and Amanda, for raising your kids up with that. It's so cool. It's such a good thing for them to experience. And then of course, Keita, you're growing things, and it's just a good example to set for the kids and getting back to the roots.
Right.
I have a question for people giving with Thanksgiving. So I think we've all kind of touched on how we're kind of weird in our family group and dynamic. Do you guys, like, now that crypto is pumped a little bit, are you like entering in people who know that you hold these assets? Like, how are you guys walking into the to the houses tomorrow?
I'm a walking like nothing happened.
Mhm.
Don't ask me
Don't
about
ask.
it. I don't know about it. I don't want to hear about it. You know what? As a matter of fact, I sold everything I had. So don't worry about it. I had a bad time.
Yeah, yeah. It was dipping, and I got out.
And I went on ahead and took my feet out of the water. See,
Right.
that's what happened.
Oh yeah, nice.
I've had a few.
It's called plausible deniability.
Exactly.
I've had a few. I mean, I'm not going to a family event or anything, but I've had a few people like reach out, like friends and family who I reached out like 3 weeks. Like as soon as the launch happened, as soon as the first premiere, I just had this overwhelming feeling that I needed to inform all the people I love one more time, so that like I would have no guilt in the future, And so I just like sent a message out 2.5 weeks ago, on like pretty much the day before the first premiere in Scottsdale, and I said, please let me teach you about this. I truly believe it's generational wealth. I will leave it in your hands, but I am here if you need any help so you don't get scammed, because that's my biggest concern right now, because there's so many scammers out there, and I just see it so often right now, and it's really scary. And that I'm just like, okay. And then as soon as it popped off, right, I have them all writing me like, hey, I'm ready to learn now. And it's like, I don't have time. And so I said to them all, I said, here's the link to Maya and Chris's movie. Go watch that. And I'm not here to convince you. And when you want to know how to set up your Examine wallet, I'm totally up for that. And like I created tutorials this week so that I can just send them the tutorial. Like, because I don't got time for this. Like I had so much time for so many years. And now it's like, I had a few people write me, can you tell me all about it? I'm like, no, I cannot tell you all about it. I'm like, there is a movie now all about it. And you can go watch the movie and pay my friends. And then I write at the bottom, like, support independent filmmakers. These are my friends, like that's just the way it is now, I think. And
I have to
think
say, I had my ex, my very first boyfriend ever, when I think I was probably 13 years old. And he reached out, like we've been friends all this time. He reached out on Facebook and said, I'm thinking about dipping my toe into XRP as a crypto expert. What are your thoughts? And I was like, do it. I like waited a little bit before I got back with him. But I was so pleased that he listened. So people are listening that we don't think are, but so he pulled the plug, or pulled the trigger on it, and right before it started rising. So brother got in right before it tripled, So I'm like, good for you, man. And I said, just hold on. And then but I feel the same way, Amanda, is, it's been years that I've been in this. I've tried to tell my family about it. I've tried to tell my friends about it. I used to be much more aggressive and giddy and now I'm just like, you know what? I can't give you my oil. Like, it's the same thing with God, right? I can't give you my oil. You got to do your own research on it. If I've piqued your interest enough for you to start learning, then maybe you'll watch the Dip a Toe show. And maybe if you have questions, you'll put it in the comment and say, can you please do a show on this? Can you please do a show on that? Can you point me to a place, a trusted source of information? Because we really are here for that. And every one of us in the show right now, and even the people that are watching, we've been around long enough. We know who we trust. We have our network of folks, which is what we've been building over all of these years. And so those that are watching, that are dipping their toe, we are here for you. We want to help you, but unfortunately, we're not going to have as much time to be able to walk you through, baby step you. Now, maybe in the future, I could see myself saying, okay, I'm going to do a family call or a friendly call on this day, and it's going to be a Zoom call, and there's going to be 8 or 10 of you, and I can walk you through, step by step, one time, and we're going to record that shit, and then I'm going to send that video to somebody, because I'm not going to have time to do it, right? I don't even have hardly time to do what I'm doing right now, so
Not financial advice.
not
Exactly.
I do want to say hello to the folks that are in here that I've missed. Stir Crazy, hello. Lisa A, thank you for coming. Albert XRP Mafia says, ladies, I made a live show. YouTube not giving me notifications. Oh, well, that's not good. Atlantic Living. And we're going to talk about this, but Atlantic Living says, Maya, was there anything you and Chris wish you had added in the film since it's released? We'll wait till Chris gets on that. Yeah. And then he says, I love all my digital sisters on this live. Yippee. We love you too. Thank you for coming.
Actually, Melissa,
yeah.
this is the first it's come a long way, not just with crypto, but crypto for women. I don't think 3 years ago we would have seen 5 women right here. This is amazing.
I don't even know if we would have seen 5 women and we would have had 47 people watching, to be honest with you. Right. Exactly. I mean, there's been some people out there, like the initial women, when I first got into space, they were either people that were part of corporations or like the banks, like those type of, or the hussies with the, you won't get the, like, TNA and like whatever type of stuff. No, like regular ladies that were in there. But then slowly, I've just met such smart, but you guys are all so damn smart. Like you're just like, you're not your average woman. You're out there, you're teaching yourselves, you're educating others. I mean, you made a movie. Like it's
we're on the cutting edge.
It's badass. Becky Forbes is in the house. Welcome, Becky. Thanks for coming. And who else is here? Zed is here. It says, where women repressed? Oh, were women repressed? I don't know, Zed. Were they repressed? I don't know if they were repressed.
No,
or if we just didn't know.
Well, I don't think it's that that we are repressed. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I think it's more just like the financial world and trading and all of this is very male dominated. Yeah. And it just always has been. That's what it draws. And that's actually why I hopped in the space, because, man, I saw this opportunity. And I have talked with my husband about this because I care so much about people, and then I overcare and I overshare. And I have been on a farm for almost 9 years, and I don't see very many people aiming at COVID. So my communication skills, I went about it all wrong, but I was so excited because for once, I was like, if I could explain this, I know so many mamas and people that this is the opportunity. And it got really hard when people, no, but it's happy.
Well, that comment that just came up that you put up, Melissa, that said we all got choked. Like, that was the thing. Yeah. Is that, so what I'm finding is that, first of all, if you're a woman and you're still in the space, kudos to you. Second of all, I think that, with with the suppression of information on all of the platforms, that limited all of us. And especially what I have found is that there's so many people in this community that are real, genuine, honest truthers. And they, you guys, you all sort of know what's going on in the background of all, the movie. The entire movie is about corruption. And like, essentially all of us that have been, trying to expose the corruption in all facets of our society get suppressed. So I think ultimately it's, a lot of times, I haven't felt comfortable, until this year, until Maya, had suggested Ladies Night to Jay, and then we had Ladies Night, and then I started, feeling more comfortable sharing on there because like I'd lost 4 accounts on TikTok. So, was it because I was a woman? I don't think so. I think it was because I was speaking too much truth. And ultimately, I think that this movie is like such a testament to, the highest timeline, to the fact that like, that they can share it and we can talk about these things. And, it's just, I especially love that Maya and, is part of it, that it's a couple that created this because it's an equal part, they're equal parts in this. And I think that, I don't believe in the repression of women per se, because my mom was a feminist. Now I realize that was always taken over by, the Soroses of the world. But ultimately, I am excited about these conversations. I met Linda P. Jones at the premiere, and I was like starstruck, because she was one of the very first women in this space that was talking about ETHgate and exposing these things. And so for her to be in the movie, I mean, I wish she was here right now, to be honest, but for her to be in the movie, but mostly Brooke. I guess I'm wrong that way. I know she went out of the room for a second. She has little kids. But to see Brooke, and Melissa and I talked about that, to see Brooke on that screen, speaking so eloquently about her knowledge base, and the fact that like Brooke is, I know Brooke, you're super humble, and I hope you're here listening to this right now. She might have had to leave the room. But, the fact that she is, she does own a homestead, and she, she's just your average, family. Her family's an average family who has a homestead and who wants better in their life and is trying to grow, but she has this amazing knowledge about the history of finances. And I think that this is what's so exciting. And I can't wait for, more and more women to come into the sphere. I mean, I just like anybody, really, male or female. It doesn't really matter to me, but it is really nice to hang out with women and to trust that, to trust you lot. Like, it's just such it's such an amazing experience for me to be around you guys, like the most genuine, honest, heartfelt, transparent, lovely women. And it's so rare that you have that, because often there's this,
cattiness, bitchiness.
Yeah.
Oh, she didn't hear. Did you hear, Brooke? I gave you all the accolades.
You got accolades. No, what I will say, Amanda, is I agree. I've never been a big women's liber type person myself, because I don't like anything. I don't like to acknowledge anything or blame anything for holding me down or whatever. If I get held back, it's because I held myself back. And I have big aspirations for myself. And if I want to figure something out, I will figure it out. And I think that some of those types of like the whole women are being held back and this and that, it's just another way to divide us. And I don't like to participate in anything like that. And one of the things that I really like about this space is that we're all doers. We're all pick up and goers. Like we're the ones that are putting in the time and the energy into learning this. And then we're the ones that are giving of our time to help others by having this conversation. And like you're saying, every one of you on here, extremely intelligent. And I agree with you, Amanda. And I was talking to Ryan about this. Brooke was so important in your film because she comes at things with a very calm demeanor. She's very educated when it comes to the history of the financial system, and it was like balancing out of the different personalities that were in the film, and you couldn't have chosen a better representative for that particular part of the film. And so for those of you who watched Rigged from the start, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And so again, Brooke, you probably didn't hear the kudos that you got, but
we're all
yeah.
truth seekers, you know, so
Yeah,
man or
thank
woman,
you.
Yeah.
it's about the truth. Yeah.
Before Chris gets here, I wanted to talk a little bit about so can we just address some things that's happening in the crypto space right now? Number one, with holy smokes, XRP's running, like, you know, compared to before the movie came out, and then it seemed like it came out and then price starts going up and all these things. Wanted to get your thoughts on that. And then the other thing I wanted to address real quick is the scammers that are out there preying on folks. And I wanted to remind us all that in this excitement, as we you see prices go up and there's decisions to be made and the bull run is going and you get excited, think before you act. Always go slow. You don't need to make any rash decisions and get yourself fished or you know, there's just so many people that are trying to screw others over. So you have to be very careful. So,
Yeah.
what do you guys think about the XRP price right now?
I'm excited. So I'm excited more so. I like to see the price go up. I like to see, of course, but I'm in it. Like I'm a long-term holder. Just because I don't want to like do all these things. I'm very simple. I'm very long-term. So it's exciting, but since I have such a long-term view, I'm more excited about the announcements and the partnerships that are happening and the things that are linking up the whole system. I'm seeing like coming, like being a fight, like it's been built and kind of siloed, and we're kind of seeing it kind of like snap into place, and you kind of see like who's about doing what and grabbing the lion's share of these markets. And some of those I've watched and I've speculated on, and I've bought certain cryptocurrencies based off of the research. And these past few weeks have just been announcement after announcement where the price, these prices, great, yay, but it's nothing compared to what's coming. So I'm excited.
Kita,
Yes, ma'am.
I want to know your
Well,
thoughts, lady.
it's really nice. I'm going to be honest with you. I was around when XRP did run up to $1.98. I had just gotten into XRP. It really I hadn't had it for that long. And subsequently didn't have it for that much longer after that because that's when I had lost all of mine. And so for me, it's nice to see this, see the price action that we should be seeing. I
Yeah.
still feel like it's still definitely suppressed. I do think it actually should be much higher than what it is right now, just basically based on what the rest of the market is doing and, the rest of the utility coins that are out there and they've been showing improving. But you know, because it is one of the winners in this,
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like it has been, but it is the winner in this. That they cannot allow it to be as in the forefront as it needs to be just yet, because the minute that they do that, that's we're already starting to see the FOMO coming in right now, and with the actual documentary coming out and it being now out there so that more people come to it, and with the fact that Brad Garlinghouse is going to be on 60 Minutes on Sunday,
The, t-
right?
the
There's all of
timing.
these things that are now just melting up into an amazingly huge firestorm. And, you know, I'm going to be honest with you. I know that this is really going to take people to places that they aren't ready for,
Yeah.
haven't
Mentally.
prepared themselves for. haven't wrapped their brains around, like, haven't done the math and looked at what it looks like on paper. You know what I mean? That you've written the zeros behind it at different price points, right? Based on what they have. And this is where we're going to see those that are true investors and your people that are literally just looking for this to be a get rich quick scheme, you know.
Yeah.
So I do think that there's a lot to it. I feel like we're seeing, some real movement in altcoins. The halving has really um, the halving for Bitcoin was huge. You know what I mean? And we're seeing price discovery in a different place for it. And now we're also seeing run-ups, and it's aggressive. It's not even like what we're seeing is something that is really kind of gradual. When we're seeing these movements, it's moving and it's pushing past. We'll see the retracement and it's going back up and it's going higher. These lows that we're seeing are higher lows than what they have been. So, each time you see it retrace, you're seeing it upwards, tick up by about 10 cents each time. I don't know if you all are seeing it the way that I am, but
So exciting.
yeah, it is. It's exciting.
Atlantic Living says Garling House on 60 Minutes is absolutely massive for this
It
project.
is.
His
It is.
interview can't be overstated. Simon wants to know how much you ladies are willing to pay for one XRP.
Oh,
That's a tough
well,
question.
Well, it's kind of difficult to say that when if you actually were blessed enough to be able to get it for pennies on the dollar or for
Right.
less than a penny on a dollar.
Uh-huh.
You see what I'm saying? So
Uh-huh.
it's very difficult, for us to say, hey, I'm willing to pay for this further out, but that's really, if your dollar cost averaging in, that's
Right.
gonna mess up your DCA. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
But
So,
here's the thing though. So
mhm,
like and I agree with what you're saying as far as the DCA part. Um
mhm,
But if it goes to what we think, it
mhm,
long term, like way out there.
mhm,
I remember when I first got into the space, it was Bitcoin, and everybody was like, Bitcoin is not like the stock market. It's not like stocks. It's not like
mhm.
stocks. But my mind kept thinking, but it kind of is in terms of if you're buying, like, yes, you're not buying a business and interest in a business or whatever, but there is that potential where you buy a stock and it goes up in price, right? I mean, we all
Yes.
heard the dot
Mhm.
com and all these different Apple and all these stocks that went sky high. And if you had only bought it when, so when I
Mhm.
think about somebody, when the general public starts coming into the space, and we see XRP go to $5, $10,
Mhm. Mhm.
$20,
Mhm.
um,
Mhm.
given what I know now,
Mhm.
and of course by that time all the work is going to have been done and all the information is going to be out there, all the validation is going to be out there.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
for
Mhm.
somebody to go, holy snipes, I can buy an XRP right now for $10, I can buy an XRP for
Right.
$100 right now, with the potential of if it's going to move the money and all the stuff, and it could be, maybe it'll go to $1,000 or whatever we speculate.
Mhm.
It is speculation at this point,
Of
but
course.
I could see people, if I hadn't been dollar cost averaging in, I probably will still continue to buy XRP, because even if I buy, for the grandkids, right, and say they go up to $10 and I buy them 5 XRP to put away, by the time those kids are 70 years old to
Mhm.
retire, those
Mhm.
those 10 XRP, 510 XRP are going to be worth a lot more money than I paid for them. So I kind of think about it like, what did our grandparents always buy us, those bonds, right? The
Bonds.
savings
Mhm.
bonds.
Mhm.
And you
Mhm.
always like digging through, what grandma give me? How much is this bond worth? And then
Right.
you go
Right.
take it to the bank and you're like, oh shit, man, I thought these were going to be worth way more money than
Right.
we were
But
led to believe, right?
what's interesting about that though, Melissa, is the fact that, you know what I mean, because of the fact that we are so early, I can see us saying to ourselves, look, man, we got this for this amount. There is no way I'm paying over this amount for this particular coin, right? Because at that point, are we then just gilding the lily at that point?
I mean, if I look at it like I'm buying it for gifts for other people, which I can totally
Mhm.
see myself doing, um, I wouldn't. Now, if I want to keep stacking my bags, but at some point you got to get into the diversification part of things where you start buying other things. So,
Uh,
would my $10 go farther elsewhere at this point of return on investment? And then it depends on how old you are, why you're buying it, all these types of things. That's what I think.
Right.
yeah. Yeah.
I want to hear what Maya has to say, Maya.
Oh, no, no, no. I'm just listening because I completely agree with all of you guys. It just, I feel like as time goes on, it's only going to become more valuable. And like Melissa was saying, right? Maybe some people think getting in at $10 is great or $100 or,
Yep.
so I just feel very blessed to have known about XRP at this point. And I think I'm just excited for the future. I know it's just going to get more valuable with time. So, yeah.
What made you get into
Yeah.
XRP in the first place, Maya? How'd you stumble upon it?
I mean, I think like with most of the stories in the space, it was kind of a very spiritual, intuitive feeling. I was kind of after the Dogecoin, after my experience with Dogecoin and Shiba Inu, I thought, hey, I need to actually now look for something with utility. We need to kind of de-risk a little bit. And I was at the time, back in 2020, 21, Voyager was an exchange. I don't know if it got acquired
Oh,
by someone, but uh, by some company.
Mhm.
But was just kind of looking. I would always kind of look on Voyager for different projects, and hey, what am I going to invest in next? And I'm telling you, the day I don't. I wish I remembered the day, but the moment that I kind of skimmed past this thing called XRP and then started reading it, just the description, it just hit me like a wave. Just it totally just my intuition just went off and a light bulb went off and just said, I just thought to myself, oh my gosh, this is revolutionary. I don't think people realize how big
you
this
all
is going to be.
don't you?
So,
Didn't you almost go like? What am I looking at? Like, like someone told me the huge, most huge secret ever, and
yeah,
get goosebumps, and then you're just like, and I remember like just talking to God and going like,
yeah,
keep telling me, keep showing me. Like, here's me driving in my car every day to work. Thank you,
yep,
Jesus. God, keep showing me the way. Keep showing. If I'm wrong, let me know. Show me the signs. Keep pushing me. Tell me, like, direct me to what. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it like that. But
yeah,
I love it, and this is why I love all of you guys and most everybody that's in this space, particularly the XRP people. They all say that God showed
yeah.
them. God
Oh,
showed
It's
them.
true.
it is so true. And then
It's true.
when the lawsuit dropped, I was like, psh, everyone became fearful, but I was
It
like,
made me
I
buy
gotta
it.
buy the shit out of this at this point. I just
Same.
thought, oh my goodness, I need to, this is huge. Because I had known about Tesla and all of these other companies that got sued by the SEC, and then they would completely thrive
What a
after their
coinky dink.
lawsuits. So
They
I just
pick
thought
and
I got to
choose
get into
winners,
this.
as we know
So
Yeah.
now.
And they had to
So
pay the piper in order to be able to be one of the
it's
winners.
a pay. It's
exactly.
because the SEC is like a mafia. They're a pay to
Yeah.
play organization. So if they're suing someone, yes, there's probably massive fraud, or that company is going to be a chosen one, and it needs,
Right. It was one or
especially
the
in a
other.
developing space. Melissa, I was wanting to touch on something because we're talking
Yeah.
about if we would buy it at a certain price, and I kind of want
Yeah.
to do let the audience kind of like see maybe a different angle, or consider an angle when considering this question, because like you said, we are early. This is a new space and a new asset class. So we're talking about an asset that every time it's used, utilized, it burns a portion of it. That is a layer of supply, like scarcity, on top of another mathematical layer. It's a different asset class. Yes, right now it behaves like most emerging markets do, and like stock, there's things that correlate. Yes. However, I think it's important that we realize that this is a different type of asset class in which we haven't seen. There's going to be new financial project or products that we holding these assets. My strategy right now, I'm thinking I'm not going to sell. I don't
Yeah.
like to jump in and out because I have this long-term view. There's going to be like major institutional entities that will have products where I can stake these assets for a
Mm-hmm.
yield. Well,
Yeah.
I get a
Yes,
yield,
ma'am.
and I don't,
Yes,
and it can
ma'am.
go up or down, and it will change, like, whatever the yield I get. But I just get to sit on it, get paid a yield, and I think it will go up in the future.
Yeah.
You can't beat that for an
Mm-mm.
asset class. And
Not
that
with a
is that
stick.
that conversation is so missed whenever everyone's freaking out about price and they said that and this person's crazy because they said that. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, let's
It's normally the newbies that are like that, like people that are brand spanking new in it when they
yes,
come in because they just aren't privy. They don't have the information yet. Not saying that they won't get it. They just
right.
don't have it yet to be able um to be able to say, you know what I mean, this is the way I want to go with it. You know what I mean? And
Right.
they're looking for, hey, okay, I've got this thing. What am I supposed to do now? You know what I mean?
Right.
What am
Yeah.
I going to do with it? How am I going to work with it? How is it going to work for me? You see what I'm
Yes.
That's
saying?
why we have
And
Dip a Toe
Yes.
Show.
mhm,
That's right.
yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
I want to give a shout out to Nina Blossom and Awesome Amy. Uh, Producer Third Son is in the house. XRP cult member. Welcome to the show, you guys. We have 68 people
I love
watching
that name.
live. If you would please like, share, and subscribe, share this out so we can get more folks in here. I think we're going to talk about the film here shortly.
Yeah,
Chris will be coming in.
Chris will be coming in and give him about 2 minutes, 3
Chris will be
minutes.
coming in at 2 minutes or so, and then we're gonna really we're gonna talk about the movie, which I'm super
Can I
I
bring up the
wondered.
scammer thing then before he shows
Oh
up?
yes, before he
Okay.
shows up, let's talk about the crazy stuff that's going on right now with the bull run starting to come up, and we've got people wanting to build on the XRP ledger and all of this stuff. Miss Amanda, tell him what happened.
Okay, so I called Melissa yesterday. I'm like, can you please send me a Zoom link so that I can check if my Zoom is working? Because essentially I got this guy, he wrote me, Crypto Eyes, I think. We have to look it up again. Anyways, so I got this message saying, hey, something. I ignored it because I get a lot of messages from people who want to pay them to advertise our projects. I don't have enough money to do that, and I believe that true organic growth is the way of the future, and I don't want to get scammers in my space, so I don't pay anybody. So I just ignore anything like that. 3 days had passed. He wrote me, he said, are you interested? And I was like, okay, this is weird. So I went back and I looked at the message, and it basically was like, we're really interested in your project. We'd like to interview you. So I was like, okay, so I go to the guy's profile. It's a legit profile. It's somebody who's involved with legit things. Well, little did I know the guy's freaking account had also been hacked. So there's somebody who's like, this is not an imposter. So for those of you who know me, like I actually got criticized today for spending my $15 on my blue check mark because I said I'd lived on a bus for 6 years and I got
Melissa,
like criticized.
Chris is backstage. Go ahead, Amanda.
Okay.
So I feel bad talking about this when he's popping in. So I have, for those of you who don't know me, I have like 9-10 imposters on TikTok. I've lost 4 accounts. I have people who like write optimistic prime at the top of their thing. They have copied and pasted all of my videos. And when you follow them instead of me, and then they write you and ask you if you know about the QFS. And then if you don't know me and you don't know that I'm the real person, then you actually get scammed. And then they go and tell everybody that optimistic prime scammed you. Meanwhile, I had nothing to do with it. So because of that, I pay the $15. This is also $22 for Canadian a month on the Optimistic Prime page so that people don't get scammed by a fake account. Now I can't even afford, one for the Wandering Footprint or one for the Blue Umbrella Butt. And I hope that, with the price of XRP doing its thing, I might be able to actually pay for a year thing. But anyways, that's besides the point. So this guy wrote me, he said he wanted to interview me. So then he went on Telegram and he's like, oh, my buddy has a presentation he wants to do. And I was like, well, I noticed this thing was about Corium. I was like, well, I'm not on Corium. That's not my thing. Like, I'm on XRPL. Anyways, I spent 45 minutes trying to figure out what was wrong with my Zoom. And because I hadn't had used Zoom on my computer in so long, I actually opened my Zoom account and it needed an update too. So it wasn't crazy that when I was trying to click his link, it was like, need an update. And then it would download halfway and then it said, warning, virus. And so then the person suggested that are you using Microsoft Bing? Like, yeah, well, you should probably use, a different browser. So I used Chrome. So about 45 minutes in, I started thinking, there's something wrong here. Like, first of all, this person doesn't know me. They're being super patient. It's taken 45 minutes and they are still encouraging me to keep going. Second of all, I had actually opened my Zoom account and I put in the meeting address into the thing and it kept saying not a real meeting. So all of a sudden, I got that overwhelming feeling of, oh my gosh, this is because it said Zoom in the link. Like, it would look like a legitimate link, guys. Like, it had the full 10-digit, meeting ID in the link. It was totally legit. And I write Melissa and I say, can you send me a Zoom link so that I know this? And I was like, I think I just got tried to get phished. And I knew that somebody else in the meme groups had just been phished. And so then I write her and she tells me, was it this? So I sent her a screenshot. She's like, oh my gosh, I saw a post on another platform saying this guy's account had been hacked. And so then I ended up writing it to somebody else I know. And they were like, oh my gosh, somebody else in my group this happened to like an hour and a half ago. And then I wrote the meme guy and he said, this is the same guy. And then I wrote another guy. And so it's the same person right now. But just know that, like, there's so many people out there that are trying to scam you. And that is why it is so important to be part of these spaces. And with AI voice stuff now, where they can fake your voice and they can fake your face, and that's why spaces are so important. That's why these conversations are so important, because you have, this is what's so important about the future is the integration of the human component to the blockchain. And, we're here to have those conversations. And I just warning, if it's not working, stop.
We're gonna have I think we're gonna have a show dedicated to this particular topic, and maybe at the end, if we have more time, we'll talk about it a little bit more. But Chris is here, so if we can, I'm gonna bring him in. Let's see, we have Mr.
Hello.
Chris.
How's it going?
Are you? It's fantastic. How are you doing?
Good.
Melissa, you should
Much.
switch me and Chris so that he can be next
To Maya. There we go.
There she is. Hi, Maya.
Well, we're super excited to have you guys here. I've got 71 people. Guys, we're gonna talk about the Fruition Films rigged from the start, aka XRP Unleashed. For those of you who don't know, we have Chris and Maya are the film producers for Rigged, and we're pleased to have you guys both here. Before we start, we have Brooke that was in the film, and I even had a little cameo, little tiny baby part in there. It's kind of funny.
You made it in the cut.
I didn't. It cracked me up, guys. Thank you so much. And of course, I mentioned God, and I was like, I did my part. I got my little bit in there. But
it was the best thing. It was the best thing for you to have that clip.
I loved it, guys. It really meant a lot to me. But I'm trying to figure out all the different ways that I can support the film, because I had to wait. Well, you guys have had all of these premieres all over and people got to go see them live. And I wasn't able to do that. And so I really had to wait until the streaming came out. And so I've been trying to figure out ways that I can support you. And one night I was just sitting there and I thought, I'm going to put in Grok and just see what they're saying about the film. And so before we start, I wanted to read to you guys what Grok says. So if you guys have been on the fence about watching this movie or buying the ticket, I think this is pretty cool of the little answer that Grok gave me. So I says, give me an overall sentiment of the new film by Fruition Films called Rig XRP Unleashed. And this is what it said. The overall sentiment for Rigged, aka XRP Unleashed by Fruition Productions, based on the digital whispers from the intergalactic bulletin board known as X, seems to be overwhelmingly positive. People are describing it with the enthusiasm usually reserved for discovering the answer to life, the universe, and everything, which, as we all know, is 42. Here's the breakdown.
You said that, Amanda.
Praise for execution. The film has been hailed as one of the best crime documentaries, with viewers particularly impressed by how it brings to light the truth in a spectacular fashion. It's like watching a space opera where the good guys are the crypto community and the villain is regulatory confusion. The impact and message of the film, there's a strong sense of empowerment among the XRP community, feeling that they not only made a difference, but are part of a narrative that could redefine global finance. It's as if the XRP army has been given its own epic saga, complete with plot twists and heroic deeds. The director and production team, the team behind this film, particularly highlighted by X users, seems to have knocked it out of the park. They're viewed as brave truth tellers, risks much to bringing this story to light. The essence is if Rigged, aka XRP Unleashed, were a dish at the restaurant at the end of the universe, it would be the perfectly cooked steak to which everyone gives a standing ovation, even if they're not quite even if they're not quite sure what XRP is. It's a tale of David versus Goliath, but set in the digital age with blockchain as the slingshot.
Yeah,
Was
I know.
that amazing or what?
That's
I know.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
I
It was
couldn't have said it any better.
It is pretty crazy. I mean, you don't know like what the response is going to be. Like you've seen it so many times. By the time you bring something out, you're like, is this? Are we going to be able? The most important job, I think, as a storyteller, is to like incite something in the audience. You should be mad. You should be happy. You should be feeling something. And I saw that in the theaters. When we were going from place to place. And the audience would boo Gary or like clap when everybody knows their favorite influencer in the space, so they would like say their little catchphrases or be excited when people appeared on screen. So it was when you did that little experiment, I was like, wow, like what an amazing thing. Because honestly, like a lot of us see it. There is I think the XRP army, the real ones that are out there, are mostly high frequency and it's good vibes. And even like a couple of undercover people went to the premiere, and they kind of ended up finding like, what is this company and like what are they doing, and like they must be paid by Ripple. I was like, trust me, I'll be the first person to tell you, like, I wish I was paid by Ripple, like because I lost so much XRP up in this thing, like making this happen. But no, unfortunately, we're not, and yeah, it was like cool to see the response, and really now. It's gotten kind of muted, like the little bit of negativity we hear is usually a bot account, no image, like created this month that has random 300 followers that are like all the other bots. I mean, so I try to listen to the real criticism, to try to learn that. But at this point, it's its own baby. It lives in the world, and anything else I want to do is going to be, applied to the next documentary.
Well, it was definitely from start to finish. It pulls you in, and you had a variety of the cast, the different personalities, different strengths represented within the film. And I mean, you do have to watch it back, I think, because there is even it's super interesting, and you have to almost want to like rewind it and go like, wait, what did they say?
Yeah.
What is this? And or even just to wrap your mind around the magnitude of what they freaking did. And this is why I think like Brooke, it being so important to this film, being in this film, you understand the history of the monetary system, and for them to front run the global transformation of our financial system, the changeover, what they were trying to do, when people can connect that and understand what they were doing. This is not just like, oh, they were trying to take an account from somebody and, stealing some money. We're talking trying to control the next 100 or longer because of the
100
way that
years, yeah.
right, forever to keep continuously enslave us. And so if you guys could just touch on that, because I mean that is the biggest thing that blows my mind about this film.
Yeah, so I was in the film, and more of my specialty and the way that I came to know and fully, like I think Coach JV says, understand it. I think that that's a great term to say because I truly just, when I looked into it, I understood it because I understood the financial system where it was. And so when I started to uncover this whole story, I'm like, oh, this is another one of those times. It's another one of those times. And I'm at this point in history, and it has so many consequences that some are good, some could be bad. And we're right here in that time in history, and a lot of people think that it's conspiracy and that was so absurd, and governments really don't do this. Yes, they do,
Yes, they
and
do.
yes, do ours. And what's very fascinating, and talking with the people in my immediate physical reach, they it's going to look very interesting in this next administration because, and this is where I get really excited about the timing of this documentary, not just with the price of XRP going up, but with this new changeover. Because the SEC is exactly what, an example of exactly what President Trump is trying to get rid of, eliminate. Is this exact type of um, scandal, like
Yeah.
the ickiness that we're trying to get out of here, and it's going to look to a lot of people. They're going to use that it's undemocratic. He's attacking our democracy. The
Right.
very the thing that's attacking our democracy are these three-letter agencies that conduct themselves. One, they're unconstitutional, I think, but they conduct themselves definitely, especially as we saw in this case, um, uh, against the full faith of the law. And so that really woke me up. And just like a lot of people watching the documentary, I they should get pissed off. This has to do with your financial freedom. It's the SEC that has the rule that if you're not an accredited investor unless you have over $1 million. So you're saying that I can do 2,000 hours of research, but because I don't have $1 million, I'm not, you're trying to protect me not to, like the SEC and these bureaucracies and all the red tape and the rules, like, yeah. So Chris and Maya, congratulations because this documentary just fits lockstep with the agenda of the upcoming administration, and honestly,
Yeah.
the clean out that we need to see of the financial system.
That leads me to a question. What provoked you to create this documentary in the first place? I mean, first of all, how long have you been working on the documentary? And like Brooke is saying, it's quite divine that it's the premiere is kind of in concert with Trump being elected, and we're getting ready to transition into a whole new era. we've been watching over the past several years, even though people don't realize it, there's been a lot of groundwork that's been laid for things to happen quite quickly once January rolls in with a new administration, and a lot of the corruption is kind of going to be taken care of at that point. But what gave you the foresight or the drive even to start even thinking about making a film like this? Have you always been a film creator? And I guess I'm directing this towards Chris because I think out of the two, I think Maya said you're the real person behind the camera and that. And so, what pushed you to do this?
Well, I mean, Maya's the real push. She's the one who actually, to be fair, she's the one who got us into crypto and knew people like Brooke and others. She had been talking on TikTok for years with people in the crypto space. So, she was the one who sort of got us into Bitcoin, and then we kind of went into meme coins, and then eventually we were like, we should probably find like a real coin to invest in, and that was how we ended up at XRP. And then as we were like kind of resetting, like after her cancer, she went through cancer in 2022 and she survived that. And surviving that is at such a young age is a big wake up call. You're like, well, we don't know nobody knows how many days you have. And so, that's the wake up call in terms of there's no time to waste. Like if you're going to try to pursue a dream of some sort. So we were like, we couldn't believe there was no story. We had done like some film stuff in 2022, 23, 24. And we were like, we got to find a project that we can do and we can actually self-finance, like something that's doable. So, without getting into the boring laurels of like the feature film universe, doing a narrative like a regular movie is very expensive. Okay. We're talking about like on a good day, might be $1.5 million or $2 million to like make it decent. So we were like, a documentary is a lot more doable. We can self-finance it. We can risk it. And then we were like, what should we do a documentary about? And, you should start with what you know. And we looked at all the crypto documentaries out there and we felt like they all painted us in a bad light, made us look like gamblers or degenerates. And I actually kind of think that might be intentional.
Yes.
Mainstream media wanted us to look bad because Jamie Dimon's out there saying this is bad, don't invest in it. Meanwhile, they're building the JPM coin and acquiring Corium and doing all the other shit they were doing. And so I think that like it kind of fits with the fact that, I wished that for the community, I kind of felt at some point like, all right, now we're carrying the banner of XRP flag. And a lot of folks had been like, oh, is it going to be on Netflix? Is it going to be on Netflix? It's going to be on Netflix. Like Netflix is just part of the same system, to be honest with you. Like you can't just walk in and a news flash. You can't just walk into Netflix and be like, yo, put my film on Netflix. It doesn't work like that. There's a lot of middle people in Hollywood. And so self-distribution was our best chance to kind of just bring it out. And we decided, okay, we're just going to bring this thing out and bring it into the world. And so that was kind of how the evolution came. And when we had Brooke was there on the very first recording session, because those are the people that mine did.
Yeah, you were first interview. Yeah,
Brooke was literally the first
awesome.
Of the entire documentary.
Good job, Brooke.
First interview I ever
7 in the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, very first everything was Brooke, and so we didn't know what the film was going to be at that time, but we knew something was there, right? We knew what questions to start asking, and Brooke was really the kind of person who was like off camera. She was like, you should really talk to Jimmy Valley, and like he knows a lot about this ETHgate thing. And that kind of started the breadcrumbs. She, I believe, introduced us to Jimmy Valley and like started the breadcrumbs of like, okay, like this is what's every story need, conflict. So yeah, we have an SEC, but what's the backstory of going on? What can we like talk about here? And so that was what kind of led us down that path. So Brooke really was the first interview, but also pivotal figure because it's all those things. Like she introduced us to this person and that, and that's how we got to where we were.
It was fun, and that was fun for me to watch because it's such a big topic, right? There's so many things And a lot of the pushback is, why not this? Why not that? You only have so much time. People only have so much attention spans. And there's so much to this story. And so I know, I saw the documentary and I know how much material is still, there's so much
5 other films.
information. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, can you touch on that? I'm or you don't want to? You said you were doing another documentary.
Yeah. Yeah. No, totally. I mean, when we started this, it was, we started as a docu-series. And of course, naturally, the first thing we want to do is like, all right, well, let's talk about what's bothering everybody. What's the thesis here? The thesis is we're all feeling inflation. Like this is like macro picture. Bread is eggs, gasoline. We all relate to those costs because everybody's got to deal with those costs. And that's what we feel as average citizens in our countries around the world. And inflation's like going everywhere. And so then that was kind of the narrative that I had originally pursued, which was there's this broken monetary system, which led a lot of us to alternative means of income, which led a lot of us to look for alternative, information on the internet, which led us to crypto because we needed faster compounding gains. That's kind of the general thesis of how a lot of people get into crypto, which is a little bit of what we included at the beginning of Rig from the Start to kind of give that basis of understanding. It's like a lot of times you enter crypto through Bitcoin and then you find like other coins that have more or different utility or actual like everyday utility, not just a store of value. So when we had gotten kind of out to a place where we got pretty deep into ETHgate, pretty deep into the narrative of the SEC, I think I kind of came to a conclusion like this is too much stuff. Like already the documentary is kind of dense. And we left it that way because we wanted to leave receipts in, right? We wanted there to be evidence for every single thing that you watch. So I'm glad people, are buying it and really watching it more than once. And I'm currently in production on a couple of like after show episodes that we're going to put out for free for everybody that just kind of we'll break it down a little bit. Like, Jimmy, what does that mean? Jimmy, what does this mean? Coach, what does that mean? Like, I'm just having them kind of talk about different things in the film. But then where do we go next? Well, I think we have to go like the most natural place to go after talking about the SEC is talking about the origin of all money, and that's the Federal Reserve. So the next documentary, and I kind of put a picture on X, which was me reading Jekyll Island, The Creature of Jekyll Island, which is a great book.
I saw that.
And so we are working on the universe of, Money Disrupted is the next documentary, and Money Disrupted is really the story of the Federal Reserve, how we got to where we are today, and where are we going past that with the tokenization of commodities and the future of finance. So that's kind of, it's a little bit like take our crew, our XRP army, but then we'll tell the story of the Federal Reserve, and that's everybody's story. Everybody should care about that, but even wider crypto community should care about that, and every American should watch that, and citizens around the world, because unfortunately the Federal Reserve has an outsized impact on many nations. So we need to take a look at that. So that's kind of that's a little preview of where we're going next.
That sounds fantastic. And, that is one of the things where people that get into the crypto space, a lot of us entered through Bitcoin, and we started to learn about money and realize we didn't really know anything about money. I mean, I'm an accountant, and you would think I would know all kinds of stuff about money, right? And I didn't know a lot of these things, the history of our monetary system. And the more and more that I studied on it and really understood the level of control and just the printing of the money, and money is all debt and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, holy smokes. And then, learning about what's being built, the transformation that's happening, it just became more and more exciting to me. And stumbling upon the corruption with the SEC and, picking the winners and losers, and realizing that there's a handful of folks. I mean, this Bill Hinman guy and all these people that are in the SEC, they're making these deals on the behalf of the American public, as far as I'm concerned, in making bank, all the way down the street. They're hand over fist, completely screwing the rest of the people. and they're allowed to do it and no more.
Can I point to something on that? Because
Yeah.
it's people go like, oh yeah, well, who cares? Well, that's not capitalism, and everyone's blaming capitalism for the woes that we're in right now. Whenever a government picks and chooses the industry winners, you don't have capitalism. Don't be pointing at capitalism for the
Remember
things
what
that is.
DAI said? You don't have capitalism anymore. You have, I don't know
You
what you're going.
don't. It's socialism. It's something. It is not American.
Can
So
I add to that? Because so I'm
yes.
Canadian, but my first degree is international development. Okay, so in 2001 I started university, and I was learning international development. And so nobody knows what that means. Like, my degree was called political economy and administrative change. Okay, and so people were like, "What the hell is that?" I'm like, basically, I'm learning how the developed world exploits the developing world, and that was like a summary of it. And so 20 years ago, I was learning about all these systems that, enable the richest people, and quite honestly do everything they possibly can to keep those of us with dreams suppressed. And so when you're talking about, the capitalism, so I was indoctrinated. So I didn't understand the whole, my husband calls me institutionalized, because I didn't understand that universities were designed to indoctrinate you. I thought they were teaching me how to think. And so through what I've learned is that there is these mechanisms that's not capital, exactly what you just said, is that, so much of my cohort of, in education, they've been taught to hate capitalism. And they've been taught to hate capitalism because of exactly what you just said. Yeah. And that ultimately they don't realize that there is a very small group of people that are controlling the mechanisms to capitalism. But should there, by some miracle, a platform that could create decentralized money that could be backed by commodities, that could have, treasury dollars in hand, while also having a digital version that could be transferred in real time to different people, well, that could change it all. And that would actually look like real capitalism. And so I totally agree with you, because I truly believe that's what XRPL and that's what the XLM is. That I think that this is the path to true capitalism, where the more you work, the better your product, the more innovation you have, the more the little guy can get there, and that there's not so much processes behind suppression and limitation.
Maia and Chris, you guys are amazing. Please make part 2 focus on XRP and its utility. That would be an interesting movie to put out there.
So we have, I don't think I'll do a whole movie on it, but we have episodes that we're going to release. So there's actually stuff that didn't really fit with the feature length documentary. We kind of really zeroed in on the corruption at the SEC and let that be the beginning, middle, and end of that particular story. But we did shoot a lot of stuff. So we're actually going to be releasing a couple extra episodes, December, January. They're smaller in length, more like a 20-minute kind of mini doc, if you will. But one of those was on the XRPL ecosystem. We had interviewed Sologenic and Patrick O'Reilly and XRP Cafe to talk a little bit about, some of the early utilities there. So to that point, we are, we'll put something out there like that. It's not going to be a feature length documentary about XRPL, but there is a little bit of information we gathered there. And we did actually the coolest week of shooting. We went up to Alaska and shot with on a nonprofit, which ARC Institute was supporting, called Battle Dogs.
Greg.
And that was Greg's ARC, which is part of Patrick O'Reilly's system. And that was probably the most fun week we had shooting, being up in Alaska and hanging out with Alaskan Huskies in a place where veterans go to heal. What an amazing hangout. So you'll get to see some of that footage soon. We just been, we'll go release that a little later, but we did actually cover some of the story of the XRPL ecosystem and the developers.
So I didn't mean to cut you off, Amanda. I just realized that I completely changed the subject on you, and I didn't mean to. I read the person's message, and it just came out of my mouth. So I apologize for that. Um, so this documentary, I would think that there is probably some folks that didn't want this to come out. And so I wondered from your perspective, um, at any time did you feel a little bit worried the deeper you got? Because I'm sure you went down a rabbit hole like many of us, and then holy smokes, you really fall down the rabbit hole and you start getting a hold of some information that you're like looking over your shoulder saying like, I don't know if I want to say this out loud, because there's some pretty bad folks in the world that might not want that to be exposed. And so I just wondered, did you ever feel like, gosh, should we do this? Should we really just come out? Like, I mean, it takes a lot of courage to put out a documentary like what you've produced.
I mean, I'll answer that a little bit, and then Chris can answer. It was really, I guess, where we started feeling a little bit of that was just talking to Steven when we got to, getting down to the nitty gritty about, what Steven truly knew, and all of the evidence. And, it was almost like every day he would call, hey, I got something else. I found something else. I found another text message or an email. And, there was a point where it did seem like, some of these people we were interviewing, Steven, John D, and, where it was like, oh my gosh. We heard, some stories in the community of just people who, had experience with, some, threats and different things in the space that we knew, or with some of the people we interviewed and stuff. And sometimes I did. I mean, sometimes it was like, oh, is my phone tapped? I got to make sure. It made you think a little bit, but ultimately, it was just more like I heard their story, especially with Steven, and all of that. But go ahead, Chris.
I'm not worried about anything. We're in a new age of authenticity, and
Yeah, we're not
maybe the worst case, the worst thing that mainstream media is trying to do is just ignore us, and they can't. We're becoming too noisy. We're exchanging information freely, and thankfully we have platforms like X, and there are others as well, where we can have free discourse and conversations like this one, and really have more citizen, or what I would call decentralized democracy, where all of us can participate in the system. Whereas in the past, when all of us were sort of, even Facebook's previous iteration in 2016 election, if you look at that, we were all in these bubbles where we weren't allowed to talk to each other. And it was like, okay, well, that person's filtered here and there. And mainstream media did the exact same thing. They select a demographic, but they're all basically pushing the same narrative, more or less. It doesn't really matter. None of them are really above any of the other ones. So I feel like it's a great time to be doing this. It's kind of like almost became like our mission is to create a decentralized democracy, citizen journalism documentary company. It's like we kind of fell into that, but I feel like these stories are important, and the information is definitely out there. Like, and without the community's efforts and the efforts of all the folks that interviewed with us, like the story wouldn't be there. But that's really the job of a documentarian, is to craft that narrative into a story that everyone can quickly understand, in maybe an easier way than an X thread that's like 100 things long, or random information everywhere else. Like, ultimately we all like stories, we like story time, and we like to watch it and see it play out in front of us. So we're hoping to keep telling stories like that. And if it's any like recourse, I'm not really worried about that story, because the stuff that has been told to Maya and I about possible projects we're going to take on in the future is way crazier.
It's actually even crazier than
way
this story.
Scarier and way
Yeah.
crazier, and we're working on proposals now for things.
You thought the rabbit hole was deep on this one.
Yeah, the rabbit hole keeps unfolding, and like these getting in places. So And well, what's great is that
Wait. I
we'll get
can't wait
better.
to watch you guys. I cannot wait to watch you
Yeah.
guys go. Oh my
This
gosh.
this interview is going to go down in history, man. I'm just saying, I'm like super stoked that you're on the Dip and Toe show, and I just want again to give you guys kudos because and for there's 436 people watching the Dip and Toe show tonight. Thank you guys so much. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Help our channel grow. You can find us at Dip and Toe on YouTube and Rumble. And give us a follow and a like and a comment and all of that good stuff so we can help keep putting out this kind of information for you. One of the things that's really exciting to me about this space is look at the possibilities. Look what we can do together. You guys, you did have to put out money, and there is no doubt about that. You had to put out your money, you had to put out your time and your energy.
You're in your neck.
But what I saw from the outside, I saw people rallying and cheering you on every step of the way. And I mean, I think that's very important for us going forward. If we really want this decentralization to work, we have to support one another. And so projects like yours are super important for us to give our attention to, and wherever we can help lift it up, we need to do that because we are combating against the legacy media. And don't think for 1 second, folks, that those people haven't infiltrated our new online, where we're hanging out on X and Facebook and all that. There's a bunch of posers in there that they're trying to act like one of us, and their whole MO is going to take you down a road, get you involved, get all their fans and whatever, and start trying to shift the narrative. And so, in my opinion, as we go along through this, we really need to be wise and think about things, do our own research, and make sure that the folks that we are following we're not blindly following them. And so, I mean, you guys doing your own research and you're talking to just the real people and you're putting the story out there. I'm just so proud of you guys for doing it. And thank you for making such an effort. And, I hope every single person buys a ticket or buys 2 tickets, 3 tickets, whatever, to this show. And you can still get your tickets at fruitionproductions.com. For $14.99, you can buy your own streaming ticket and watch the film. And, but yeah, I just think we're in exciting times. And I mean, geez.
Melissa,
Thank you.
you made a comment that kind of relates to what we're talking about, or you posted a video of that media like dinner gala that they were having, and that guy was like having a hissy fit on stage about Elon Musk coming out and saying, "Congratulations, y'all, you are the media." Like,
Yeah,
you're not the media, blah, blah,
yeah,
blah. And I'm like, no, quite literally,
we are.
legacy media. Like we are, and you're doing a better job, and for on the cheap and grassroots, and they're scared, and I'm happy about it.
I'm very
So
happy about it.
So
I'm very
happy.
happy about it.
I love watching the narcissism like parade and them like melting down. It's great.
We're the consumers. We're the consumers of this information, right? Of the movies, of the music, of everything. We are. It's our choice. And so when we get together and we go out there and we start supporting people like yourselves,
Support each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly. Look at how strong we are. We don't need them. And we're in like projects like yours, kind of calls them to the carpet. Like, guess what? Because I think a little birdie told me when you guys were trying to shop around and thinking like, can we get this on Amazon? Can we get this to Netflix? Can we get this whatever? They were telling you needed a big star or something, right? Isn't that what they were telling?
Yes,
Yeah.
a LeBron James or Kim Kardashian
Or actually,
or Mark Cuban.
they wanted us to pay Mark Cuban to be in the documentary.
Yeah.
Well, imagine how bad that
Look how
was.
that turned out.
I think at the end of the day, like, yeah, legacy media is sort of on its way out, and like the best thing the best thing we could have done is self-finance because we don't owe anybody anything. And the only narrative that we are going to put on the screen is the truth. And so when you're compromised, which almost every politician is compromised, and almost every agency, mainstream media agency, is compromised by their sponsors in some way or now. We have to become the media, as Toastman's saying there. Like, we have to become our own reporting, and that's why that's just, I want to clear the air on one thing, is like, when people are like, oh, just put it out for free, and just like put it out there, like, believe me, like, we want to grow the audience over time, and we will move past just our website. Like, we signed our contract already to make it available for rental on iTunes,
Apple, Amazon,
and all those places, like in end of January or early February. Now, it's not going to be a title card you're going to see on Apple TV Plus or on Amazon Prime Video, but you can go there and rent it, and that does make it more accessible. So we're working on subtitles to make it available for folks who don't speak English, so you can watch it with, Spanish or Japanese or Korean or French subtitles or whatever, so you can follow along in the story. So all of those things are things that we're working on, launching to help folks make it more accessible. And we will be doing, we will be putting the documentary in chunks on X, but behind a subscription. So we'll put a little bit of out for free, and then put the rest of it. So
that's a good idea.
If you want to subscribe, yeah,
we haven't launched that yet, but like, I was very leery about doing that, because like, some people are like, oh, you're signing me up for like a thing, but now I'm getting a little bit more like, well, we have a pipeline of projects, and like, we're exposing those, we're talking about them. Here's project 1, project 2, project 3, and so it helps us be able to do that, because in reality, yes, we finished the project, but as you mentioned earlier on, like, the only people that got paid were my crew, the people who helped us make it. Nobody got paid to appear in the documentary. And I think for clarity going forward, I don't want to do that ever. And that's why we didn't hire Mark Cuban or LeBron James or someone random to just be a random celebrity. If in fact there was one person not in our direct community, but in the outside crypto community, that asked us, well, will you pay me to be in it? And I said no, and they declined. And I said, that's fine. You've self-eliminated your intention. You only want to be here if you're being paid. So we've never paid anybody to do that, and I think that keeps the information pure. But you do have to pay the crew. These people live on filmmaking, and so we paid all of them and did all the travel and took care of the locations and permits, and there's so many costs. So
fabulous crew too. Like,
by
the way,
they're great.
Crew.
They're great.
We tried to run a professional set, even though we're a small company, and so now the job is like, hoping that we can recoup our costs and then actually live off of doing this like full time, making this our
do the next story.
Getting rid of our day jobs and just doing this full time is our goal. And so we're pushing all of our energy every single day. Maya and I ask ourselves, like, how can we, get this story to more people, and how can we, tell the next story with even better integrity, or I should say, like, better quality, and continue to push out more things that the regular person needs to know about. We need to wake up to all these things. So that's kind of the mission now of what we're trying to do.
I really like the idea of, having a subscription, even like, there's Patreon group, like you could form a Patreon group, just because there are so many different people in the world, different kinds of folks. Different platforms resonate with different kinds of people. Some people feel more comfortable watching something on Amazon Prime. Some people feel more comfortable watching on X. Some people feel more comfortable watching on YouTube with the Patreon memberships. And so, you could offer it in a variety of ways, and it's not too much to pay. There's so many things out there that we spend our money on. And when you realize that, this is a small project, it was a big project, but with, small dollar in terms of, not your high dollar production movie where that's going to be pushed out by these big media groups and really hype it up on every radio and TV channel that's out there. This is word of mouth at this point. And so, we're the ones that can make this happen. And what I want people to realize is that for Maya and Chris and Fruition Productions to be successful in this, that means we're successful. because if you have any kind of business, service, whatever you're doing, you tap onto this type of mentality, and it just kind of spreads. It grows. We grow the network effect, so to speak. And so, I just really encourage everyone to do their part when it comes to this. If you can help in any way, for God's sakes, please do it. That's what
Thank
that's
you.
what I think.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Small price to pay for truth. Let's go.
I mean, and we need it. We need it. And you guys did expose a lot of truth. There's a lot of people that are probably watching that may not, when they come across the Dip a Toe show, they might not know the magnitude of like who Stephen Narioff is, or some might have heard of John Deaton for him because he ran for office. But can you touch on some of these folks that are in the film, that brought the receipts? Why should they be trusted? Like, you came across these people, and some of these folks that are going to be watching the film, they're not going to know them from Adam. They don't know who they are, why they're important. So could you just touch on some of those players and let me know why?
Maya, do you want to answer that? I don't want to talk too much.
Oh, no. I mean, no, go ahead. Because, I mean, you talk to Steven a lot, and Jimmy and John. But, yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Okay. Well, I mean, like, first of all, all of these people are very significant in our community, in the XRP community, and really in the crypto community in general. And one thing I'll state, and then I'll go into like the people, is that there were other folks who did come forward and try to show evidence to us and things, but the evidence didn't always add up. And so Maya and I tried to maintain a very high barrier to entry to make sure that if we were going to put you in the documentary, you had your receipts with you, right? You basically could show the evidence, and there's nobody with more evidence than Stephen Narioff. He has a lot of evidence. So, he's probably the most significant whistleblower in the documentary. He was involved with Ethereum very early on. He explains his story in the documentary of how he got involved with Ethereum. But one thing to articulate to everybody is that what you see in the documentary is like 1% of the documents that Steven sent me. He sent me like thousands of pages.
He sent a lot.
I was like, Steven, I asked for like 3 things, and it was taking him like a week. And I'm like, Steven, where is this stuff? And then he kept like taking a few more days. And then I get this like dossier of like every document under the sun, every conversation he ever had with Charles Hoskinson. It was like every single thing he ever did with Vitalik. And it was like, wow. So I was like, what the haters are going to do? They're going to say, well, you weren't really, Charles Hoskinson is going to randomly come out and say, well, you weren't really part of Ethereum. You weren't part of the Ethereum Foundation. So Stephen Narioff's significant because he came up with the concept in the securities laws of what an initial coin offering is, which is how Ethereum tokens were offered, and many other tokens were offered subsequently after that. The idea of the utility token from a legal perspective came from Stephen's mind. And so that is significant because he was there in the early days, working with Joseph Grunsfest and working with the lawyers of the Ethereum Foundation to come up with that concept and actually make ICOs happen, which allowed money to flow into the crypto market. He's also there because he exposes in the documentary that the Ethereum Foundation had basically been accepting, untold blank checks and money from the Chinese Communist Party via entities that they control in the Wang Chang Group and through Fembuchi Capital. And that ultimately, Vitalik was a sort of a prop, or as he's called, the Japanese emperor strategy. He's the
figurehead,
the fake figurehead of Ethereum, while really it's being controlled probably Joseph Lubin and ultimately
like Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook, like that.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get into that. I don't know.
No.
I don't know about that. But anyways,
Yes.
So that's the significance of Stephen Narioff, because he has the documentation ultimately that proves, going back to ETHgate, that Bill Hinman or Vitalik, one of them lied to each other. Either Bill Hinman lied to the general public and they knew Ethereum wasn't decentralized. Their own documentation says that. They knew it.
Oh, he knew.
Or because we don't have the transcripts of the meeting, so we can't say whether he knew or not.
Yeah.
But or Vitalik and his lawyer lied under oath to the U.S. government. So either way, there's a crime that's committed there of some kind. So that's the significance of Stephen. John Deaton's obviously significant because he is somebody who launched and successfully wanted to represent the XRP holders in the case, the SEC case. And so he wasn't worried about Ripple. You know, Ripple spent $200 million in legal bills to try to beat the SEC. He was trying to represent the retail investors. So that was where everybody signed, or 75,000 different XRP holders signed up for his basically the amicus brief he filed. And he describes what an amicus brief is and why that matters, and helped the Judge Torres ruling, which ultimately is the most important seminal thing for the XRP community, is Judge Torres ruling that the retail sales of XRP are not securities, which is valuable for us, allowing the market now to move on and the catalysts to take place. So those are kind of some of the significant folks. Jimmy Valley is significant because they had done a lot of research on ETHgate, and they had actually placed out evaluation models, and they went under a ton of heat for the concept of the buyback, because what Jimmy Valley and Vahill Capital was trying to do was assess the damages that the retail investors were feeling because
people
the
misunderstood that. Yeah,
suing them. And then there is like this whole negative narrative around that. Now, funny enough, people are now interested in Vahill's price evaluations because we're in a bull market. How high is this going to go? And rather than just randomly guessing, like they have evaluation models, 6 of them that are pegged to the year 2020 or 2030, using different variables to understand that, with the best, sort of thinking at that time to create those evaluation models. So I feel like we also kind of inadvertently helped heal a little bit Jimmy, helped heal a little bit Stephen's image in the public. John, everybody always loved John, but those 2 guys, I think, ended up with a lot of hate. I know everybody here is probably
Chris, I mean, I feel like they were just misunderstood. And I mean, if you look back, these people, Jimmy, John, Stephen, they have years upon years of experience. You can see it on the internet, just what they've done. And so, I'm just glad people are starting to see what their real intention and understand more what they did for the community. They did a lot. So
they did a lot, and people need to realize that this, again, a brand new asset class. There's going to be brand new models, brand new economic theories. Being an economic theory nerd, it's like, and a lot of people who are just, yeeting into the crypto space, they look at that and they understand market cap and they go, well, market cap. And I just go, yes, I know it matters in especially concept right now, but this is a brand new system that we're about to watch launch.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter the market cap.
And it might not. We're going to see. We're going to see. And I would be very careful about people who think that they know it all, because these are just theories, they're models. We don't know. So
well, the thing is those models that they built out, I was interested just that in happy to see someone kind of trying to put it together, because like you're saying, Brooke, this is a new asset class, and having someone take the time from different professionals across the board were kind of in on this committee, and they came up with some awesome models. And recently, or probably like a year ago or so, I think, when they had turned it over to a university, kind of as a project for up and coming people to dealing with finance, to have them kind of look at their models and see if they can improve upon them or find flaws in the models. And I was listening to, I think it was Crypto for Life, had all of these guys back on his channel the other day. Dr. Buckus was on there, Molly Elmore, Stephen wasn't on there, but oh gosh, Jimmy was on there, and they were saying that they came back and they couldn't poke holes in their theories, and they didn't approve on it. So what does that tell you? You have up and coming people that are freshly studying this kind of stuff, and they look at all these different models, and they didn't come back and say this one's crap, this one's a long shot, or whatever. They said, hey guys, this is pretty awesome, this is pretty good with what you've come up with. So getting back to the film, when you have something like that, where this asset class, in the SEC suing them and holding back progression, and having this SEC people picking the winners and losers, it's even more crazy to think what they thought they were going to get away with, right? And if you guys didn't make this film, how many people would actually even have the opportunity to understand what unfolded? And I mean, you guys have laid it out, and given receipts, and then you're going to come with some additional information for people to learn. And I think a lot of people are going to be pretty pissed off when they think about it, and thankful at the same time, that you've explained it, and it gives them an opportunity to really look into this asset class for real now. So, I mean, what do you think, Kidda? You've been awful quiet.
I know, because everybody's been talking and I didn't want to interrupt.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I mean, there's so much that we're seeing now. The documentary has really brought out a lot of information. And, when I was watching it, I felt really vindicated in a lot of ways because I had been watching a lot of those things that was coming from DAI as well as digital perspectives, and they were basically talking about this on a daily basis. Now, when Fruition Films got to the whole story and really put it together in such a masterful way to be able to really string everything together, and it was very seamless to understand how everything worked throughout the whole process. So for those people that are coming in now and taking a look at it, you all have basically laid the ground, the groundwork and the foundation, right? And we're starting to see the FOMO come in. We're now seeing Brad Garlinghouse that will be on 60 Minutes on Sunday. And the crazy part about this is those people that are coming in now, I almost feel bad for them in a way, because once it gets to the masses, it's almost too late, right? It's almost too late for those people, you know what I mean, who are going to feel some type of way about all of us that may have said something to them about it. I know that Melissa touched on this earlier, but can you imagine? I mean, I know they've come out of the woodwork for her. I know a lot of people have come out of the woodwork for me as well. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited about what's happening, right now. I'm excited about the price movement, that this is, people are starting to see light at the end of the tunnel for this. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
as we go through this whole season now, because, part of it is the end of fiscal year and the beginning of a new fiscal year, and then the beginning of a new quarter. We're almost through the end of the quarter now. You know what I mean? And so as we come into next year and coming into a new administration coming into play, I really am excited for where this is going finally. Finally.
It's a very exciting time. I mean, we are so early. That is my biggest excitement, is that we are so early, and we are finally at the end, for those of us who've been holding for many years, of this very painful period. And we are finally getting into like the next stage of it. And there's going to be just like so much opportunity. And I don't mean just like investing in any specific asset. It's just like DeFi and like the new financial system, and like being your own bank and self-sovereignty and all of the utility that's going to be popping off on the blockchain. And for a lot of folks, it won't mean anything. It'll just be like, I'm still going down the street and my life's no different. But for those of us that are paying attention, and for that next group of people, even for that next group of people that come in here, it's like once in a lifetime opportunity. It is not often. It is not every generation. It is once 120 years or so that we have a financial reset that's about to happen at the level that it is happening right now. So truly like a very amazing time to be alive, both for the financial part of it, but also for like the, as Coach JV has been saying lately,
Humanity.
like the era of authenticity, right? We're starting to get back to controlling the true narrative, like being able to have real conversation. What's happening, this is democracy, not what is on television, not even what Trump says. It is what people talk about in the town square, which is, this is the town square now, you know, and so we have the chance to validate things, discuss ideas. My line is always like, you can be violently against me, like in terms of your viewpoint. Just don't cross the line and become intellectually lazy and attack the person. Once you do that, I block you. I'm done. You know, like once you make a comment about anybody that is in this community, or you make a low intelligence comment, which I see many of out there, I'm just like, you're being dumb. Goodbye. You know, and block. You know, and so. And look, Elon needs to do some work on X, because as people are mentioning, like there are some problems with, I don't like moderation, but I don't like the ability that someone can doppelganger someone else super easy. Like that's just dumb. Like don't make that possible. But but I definitely think it's a great opportunity. We should debate ideas. We should have critical thought, and we shouldn't be divided apart. You know, hopefully those who might feel negatively about the election, the U.S. election, can come in and have a dialogue and like, look, let's just figure out what. I think Trump said one thing is very important, and that is success will bring us together. I do believe that. Like
I do too.
We're all doing well. Like, shouldn't we root for the country? Like, we shouldn't be not rooting for it. You know, should we trying to like root for each other and root for entrepreneurial like startups? And so I think it's a really exciting time for all of that.
We have more in common than they want us to believe. And it's always been the truth. And if people just look in their own backyards, right, at your place of work, when you go grocery shopping, you go to the school, you just talk. If you stop watching and listening to all the narratives that they push on the television and on the radio, and you just live your life and be kind to one another, it's not like that. You know, when you know your neighbors, it's not it's not as easy to be nasty, right? So I so much agree with you, and I do think that our time is now, and we are creating such a great momentum, a great network effect. And those of us, like we said, are at the top of the show with, a lot of us feel that God showed us XRP, for example, led us to it, which then also led us to each other. Like we're like magnets, and we're an incredible force to reckon with. And I think that, spreading the positivity, and like you're saying, Chris, having the conversations with someone. I'm not into having a nasty debate with somebody, but I am interested in hearing other people's opinions. And so even sometimes I will follow folks on X that I actually disagree with. Or I will comment and ask a question, and I try to phrase my question in a way not to offend them, but to get them to answer the question in their way, because maybe their perspective changes my mind on some things, because I don't know everything. And like I say, we do have more in common than they want us to believe. And so, Don't put yourself in a box. I always say that. Don't put yourself in a little box. Let
Totally.
yourself grow, let breathe, realize that, sometimes we hear somebody say something and we just internalize it and think they're saying something directly negative towards us because it, counters our opinion or whatever. And that's not always the case. So,
But
and the
I think
other
that
thing I was going to say, the other thing, Chris, is that when you said, as far as the price and it being monumental for people, the opportunities like this cycle and maybe next cycle and even next cycle, even at $10, $100, $1,000, when people do find XRP, for example, is what I'm talking about, this particular asset. It still will be an incredible opportunity for the future, depending on why they're buying it and for how long they're going to hold it for and all of that. But it's still just like the most incredible opportunity of our lifetime. All of this stuff that's happening. So,
As I mentioned, it's a long cycle. So we don't always get an opportunity to do what we're doing right now, which is ostensibly investing in the next treasury note, more or less, like in the next version of the treasury note. And so being able to invest in at least an infrastructure that will support that is an amazing time, because that stuff does not change very often. And those systems carry out for, long period of time. But now we know we're in an unsustainable path. There has to be some kind of reaction against it. And there are solutions being proposed. And, I think that it doesn't matter whether left or right, in the political system, they have to reconcile the insolvency of the United States right now. And so they're going to have to do that one way or another, and it'll most likely involve blockchain as the solution, and most likely involve the tokenization of all of the commodities, and resources. And we know that. And so it's a good network to have, because all of us who are in the know, imagine where all of us are going to be in like 3 or 4 years. We're like, I see you. Remember, we were there early.
huh?
And, we'll hopefully be investing in each other's businesses and be a
Amen.
great network of people to help the next person too. So, yeah.
That's fantastic. We have about 10 minutes left. Amanda, I want to kind of go around the room, final thoughts, and then give the final, let everybody know where they can find the film. So, Amanda, if you would go first and kind of touch on what you wanted to say.
Yeah, I wanted to speak to the authenticity. Chris said that Coach JV talks about the time of authenticity, and so I had the privilege of hanging out with Maya and Chris in LA for the last premiere and our birthday. So Chris and I have the same birthday, which was the day between the premiere and the day of the launch. And so when Maya had told me, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever before, like the whole time, whatever it was, like a month before, I was like, what? Your last premiere is the day before my 42nd birthday, and your launch is the day after. And then she's like, that's Chris's birthday. I was like, what? I was like, what are you talking about? And so the fact that a person from our community paid for my trip to go down there, and then Chris and Maya just took care of me the whole time, and then they actually asked me to if I'd be willing to extend my trip on the night of my 42nd birthday, which, by the way, Grok said 42 is the secret of the universe, and I just turned 42. So it was a big deal, and I've been saying that to everybody, that I believe this is my year, and I've been banking my karma for 42 years, and this is the answer to all things. And I've been cheering them on for 8 months, 10 months, 12 months since the very first, since they all went out to LA to be interviewed, and I was friends with all of them. And, I was just what is happening here? And I had been saying for so long, I truly believe that what they were creating and what they've created and what they're about to create in the world is a catalyst to so much opportunity for people, for the layman person who might not be able to, wrap their head around the shit that we have over the past 3 years and do all their own independent research in a world that, Google censors out all the actual research and things like that. And so the fact that Maya and Chris are everything I had hoped they would be. And I'm gonna get all emotional, but I said to Melissa today, I said, I'm a lot, and I know that, and I'm a lot for a lot of people. And what makes me a lot is that I'm such a I'm so bubbly, and I'm so you know, I love cheerleading, and like it truly was like such an honor to be there on launch day and like just be able to cheer you guys on and like just watch you like just live in this moment of like you guys should be so beyond proud of yourself. I think you've left the bar so high for yourself when it comes to the second and the third documentaries.
Yeah.
And that, you know, just like, you know, the fact that Brooke's here tonight, you know, it for me, you know, these two and Brooke really are the catalyst to all of this. And it says it's such a testament to the true authenticity. And, you know, a lot of people say we're going from 4D to 5D. I believe that that's competition to collaboration. I believe that that is us going from, you know, we're against each other to what skill do you have that I don't have? And what's, you know, and how can we work together to create this like, you know, transparent, honest world that we all thought was there. And, you know, over the past 4 years, the hardest part of this journey for me is to realize, you know, even for 20 years for me, but to realize how inauthentic it is and how many secrets there are and how many lies there are. And so to be part of this journey with all of you is just like, I could not have asked for a better journey. I truly believe I'm on my highest timeline at this point. And, you know, it's this movie and the people that you chose to be part of it. I think like for me, what I witnessed through this was that because you were willing to share the process, you know, so often people just they have an idea, they go ahead and then they release it in the future. And I think that because you were willing to share the process, because it's the journey, it's always the journey, it's not the destination. And that right now we're all on this journey together. And I'm so excited about the future. And I'm so excited about all the things they're going to share and announce and be part of. And like, I'll tell you, you'll be the very first subscription I will pay for every single month on X, knowing I'm getting my little, little side conversations and questions. Like I am happy to give my, little amount to you guys. There's nobody else on X that I'm willing to do that for. Because of who I know you to be. You know, you're not just two people in the world to me. You're friends. And, you know, we promised my kids because they took me to Disneyland for my 42nd birthday, which I don't know if you guys saw the videos, but like quite literally we'd go from ride to ride. And there's one video that I put out afterwards that Maya's like, it's $1.50. And Chris is like, no, it's not. And she's like, yeah, like it jumped 5 cents. And it's just like this crazy experience to be doing this.
You guys want an elephant ear? It's up 5 cents.
And I'm calling my kids being like, hey, I'm at Disneyland for my 42nd birthday. And they're so jealous. And so we made a deal that when XRP gets to $100, I told my kids, all right, XRP is $100. We're going to Disneyland. So, maybe next year, maybe the year after that. But I'm privileged to be on the show tonight. I'm privileged to have met you in real life and to have spent like such an important time with you guys. And, for all the people who don't know Maia and Chris, like it's their story that makes this movie. And I know their story. And so you just get to see their honesty and their authenticity and their thirst for the truth on a big screen, which is fantastic. But when you finally get to know their story, you will see that they truly are the embodiment of like divine timing, and if I hadn't known them, if I didn't go through this journey, I would never have known. I mean, people, Chris, you say people accuse you of being, supported by Ripple because the divine timing is insane on this. The fact like it looks like it's planned. And it's just all the evidence for me is exactly what I always believe, that if we all worked on our projects from our own perspective and we just, even you, Melissa, and this show, eventually it would all coalesce into this beautiful tapestry that looks like heaven on earth. And that is truly what this whole thing is for me, is that it's the fight for the truth. It's the fight for the light, and peace. You can't fight for peace. The only way you can create peace is to create peace, is to create the truth in the dialogue that allows people to thrive. And so deep bow to the two of you. Thank you so much for persevering through all the bullshit. And I just can't wait for the next one. I can't wait for the little episodes. I can't wait for your projects. And like, I'm just so honored to call you guys friends.
Oh, that was so nice.
Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you.
Miss
Birthday
Kate.
twin.
Birthday twin.
She's like, my
back
40,
to Disney.
42 years, I've never been to Disney. That was why she extended the trip. I was like 40. She had flown in for like 2 days.
And then we said, let's do it.
42 years you've never been to Disney. I was like, change your flight. We're going. You know.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Albert says, Optimistic Prime is based. I think that's a compliment. Miss Kita, what are your final thoughts for the evening?
You mean to tell me you want me to speak after Miss Optimistic Prime? Seriously? I'm just kidding. I really am just kidding because she really said a lot, and all of it was very true. You know, for myself, I was totally geeked out to be able to see this documentary. I was totally excited by it. I was excited by all the information that was given. And it has been such an honor to have watched it, to be able to say that, you know, I see people that I've actually had conversation with that are doing real major things in a big way. You know what I mean? And it is so great to see the artistry, the professionalism in the actual documentary, so well put together, so well pieced together, so well shot. All of it was completely seamless. So for me, you guys have the win.
Thank you.
Definitely have the win. And the XRP army is behind you, and we see you. We see the office. As Optimistic Prime said, we see the authenticity. So thank you for that. Thank you for having me. Thank you for allowing me to have this conversation with you. And I'm looking forward to more. I'm going to be looking for whatever y'all decide y'all want to put out. So
you need to have them. You need to have them on Keeping It 100 with Keita and the crew.
I know.
On Thursday.
Yeah.
Huh? She has the spaces.
There won't be one tomorrow night,
well,
because
it's Thanksgiving.
we will be eating, and we'll, all that tryptophan is going to put us out. So yeah.
Thank you, Keita.
Plenty of future time. Brooke.
Oh. Can you hear me?
Yes.
My earphones died. What do I want to say? I don't know what else I can say except for, man, I just feel like we touched on it before, that it's just meant to be type of thing. Serendipity, whatever you want to call it. I feel blessed to know each and every one of you. Like you said, I think that the vibe, the frequency, you can feel that. And it's actually the strongest frequency is authenticity. That science just recently came out.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it actually trumps love. So
wow.
They have it was a whole measurement thing. It was a study I just read. So yes, I wholeheartedly agree. And the journey has been so interesting, and but I wouldn't change it. Wouldn't change it at all. Thank you, Melissa, for having us on. Thank you for having this platform. And thank you for all the work that, whether you're Fruition Films or Melissa, or just whatever work you're doing, it matters. It really does. So.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much, Brooke. And I saw someone in the comments wanting you to talk about Bank 1 and Bank 2, and we're going to have Brooke on Dip a Toe just to talk about that stuff, because Brooke needs a whole show to explain and talk about those things. And so we're going to bring Brooke back for sure on Dip a Toe. As soon as we can make that happen, we will. Maia, final thoughts.
Yeah, just want to say, I always say thank you for, we couldn't have done it without you guys, right? The community. And you really did make Chris and I's dream come true. I always say the impossible become possible. And we're excited. We're excited to see what the future holds. But like, what Brooke was saying, please continue, all the creatives continue to, do your platforms, put your information out there and touch people's lives, because, no one else is going to do it. And now's the time to rise and be the person that you've always been, you've always been meant to be. I mean, the power is coming back to the people, right? So, just really thank you again. We couldn't have done it without you guys. And it is true, a divine. It's just I've learned, if anything, one thing I've learned from this project is just the divine plan. You just kind of have to let go of any anxiety or fear or anything, and just know that it's going to work out. It's going to be okay. We were connected with every step of the way with a new door opening, and so I've just learned to kind of trust and let go. So uh thank you again, everyone. Appreciate you guys so much.
Thank you so much, Maya. Chris, final thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, first, thanks to everybody who appeared in the film, offering their expertise, their research, their time, their energy.
Thank you, Brooke.
Just our mission to try to turn that story into something. A lot of filmmakers can take the easy way out and make the film about themselves. Like it's the filmmaker on their journey and the director like on the thing. And from day one, Maya and I were like, no, we're not doing that. Like, I don't want to be on
I don't
camera.
want to be on camera.
It's about the community, and we're part of the community because we were XRP holders, but it was their story. It was their expertise. I was just trying to do the best job I could to construct that into a narrative people can follow along with. And so we're very excited to continue to tell more stories and, enter this age of new authenticity. And so thank you for everybody in the community who has purchased our documentary, Rigged from the Start, aka XRP Unleashed. And if you haven't, if you have a chance to show it to your family over this Thanksgiving weekend, take your copy on your phone or on your computer that you already own and cast it. Or if there's somebody you think, needs to see this film, please gift it if it's within your means. And we thank the whole community for the support. And we want to continue doing more stories like this. And so we'll continue to push. We have a lot of big announcements coming in December about other projects we're working on and big things that we're going to be NFTs that we're going to be launching, and the content we're going to be dropping between now and early next year. It'll take us a little time for the next documentary, so that's not going to come out like in the next couple months, but we will definitely keep that pressure on the truth and try to help people understand that this is an age where we're going to hold our government accountable, and we're going to tell these stories, and we're all going to transform the democracy. That we're going to demand that we own our democracy and not the highest bidder or the highest lobbyist or the most powerful financial elite. That the reset is going to be really the reset in the hands of the people. So I'm very excited in this time period.
Amen. Speaking of the NFT thing, I actually saw you guys did a post on X regarding the NFT. Can you share a little baby information about these NFTs? Because I think it sounds pretty awesome.
Of course, yeah. So the first thing is somebody earlier in this show mentioned something really critical, and that's our expertises are different in the community. So Maya and I did not have the knowledge in the NFT side. Like, I was the filmmaker, and Maya was the one connecting all of the community members. She's a fantastic connector when it comes to people. But when Amanda came, when Optimistic Prime came to visit us for the premiere, she was like, "I did a thing. I don't know.
Gave us the best gift.
Like it. You might hate it. I'm so sorry." And I was like, "Don't apologize. Why don't you just tell us what you've done?" And she had done so much work, to create something, I think, of value. So she had worked with a developer, created a whole new wallet, gave us the seed phrase. It's on this piece of paper, and she's like, "I didn't have a way to give it to you, but now I do." And so she actually had gone through and minted a set of special NFTs for each of the cities we went to while we were there. And she printed made sure those NFTs were minted. So those are limited collection. for each of the cities, celebrating each of the cities that we did the premieres in. And then on the day, literally while we're at Disneyland, she's a crazy person. She was minting these things on her phone. I'm like, enjoy Disneyland, forget about that. But we're minting a limited set of the poster, the XRP Unleashed poster. And truthfully, that will be the last time you'll be able to get that, because we'll be retiring the poster from the website. It'll become its new name, because ultimately that is the name of the documentary, and that will help us get to the next audience. If it stays XRP Unleashed, it will, yes, it'll it'll echo well in our little pond, but when you go to the next pond, it won't resonate. So anyways, with the NFTs, we're very excited to be launching those in middle of December.
Amanda, thank you. It was the kindest gift.
Yeah,
we appreciate. And she is very talented and knowledgeable with the NFTs.
Exactly. Yeah.
Please check her out with the Wandering for print. Please.
It was
You're
awesome,
amazing, Amanda. Thank you.
So what we're gonna do is release those, and what it's gonna be is there's a set of 7. Those are for the premier cities. And if you collect all of the same number 10, number 10, number 10, number 10 across all 7, there'll be a special NFT that's minted to you. And we're going to be attaching those to physical holographic collectible cards that will be one-off for the original purchasers. Anybody who went to our premieres knows that the badges that I designed were all holographic. So we'll be creating those for the original owner of the NFT. And then for the poster, that'll be the last way. There's 221 copies of that NFT. That's the poster. So when you own that, that'll be the last batch of the original posters that will ever exist, and we'll ship those to you. And if you're outside of North America, we'll work with you on how to get that to you. But the posters will be available via those NFTs. So that'll be the kind of last time you'll be able to get XRP Unleashed branding on a poster, and that'll be the only time those premier NFTs are available. And we're partnering with the Fusion platform and with XRP Cafe and the Zaman wallet to bring those all out. So it's going to be exciting.
That is fantastic. Kudos to you, Amanda. Yes, she called me and she's like, do I do this, Melissa? What should I do? What should I do? And I said,
I'm so glad she did.
Do it, man. I said, I mean, the worst thing is just burn it all, but I think they're going to absolutely love this wonderful gift that you're creating for them. And, the amount of time and everything that went into it, done with love, 100%. And so very, very nice. What a wonderful gift. Can't wait to see them all.
Yeah. And I'd be remiss. Sorry. One other thing I wanted to mention. So it's 2 things. So obviously we want those NFTs to have value. So it's great to give you and have the collectible and you own that. Obviously that helps us do our work. So it's another way to support the work we do. But more importantly, we will be donating a certain percentage of the proceeds from that to both Empower Oversight, which is the nonprofit that's pushing government transparency. And we are also donating a small part, and I already spoke to Greg from ARC, to support XRPL projects to help nonprofits. So we will be donating some of the proceeds of those NFTs to the nonprofits.
Man, that is so cool. Very nice.
It's going to be more than I ever dreamed of. And I wrote in the letter, I wrote them a 4-page letter, and in like 4 times, like, you can burn this. Like, if I overstep my boundaries, like, you can burn this, but I just want to give it to you. And then, it was like, I felt like I was giving it to them. I was giving it to them and their future projects, and I was giving it to the community. And thanks so much for liking it. And, it really did come from, how can I put XRP Unleashed on the blockchain? Because that was what I saw. I saw that what was missing is the XRP Unleashed documentary that we had all followed.
It was perfect, and it was the most beautiful gift. Thank you. It was perfect.
So we're excited to announce more and put details out on X soon and promote that for, I think we're planning to do that like the week of like December 16th. There'll be a 7-day sale for all those NFTs, and we'll put those out there.
How awesome. Well, I just really want to thank you guys so much for coming to the Dipito Show. We've got 1,189 people watching tonight. If you all who are watching, I please beg you, please go to @Dipito Show on YouTube or Rumble and subscribe to our channel and hit the like button. Just anything you can do to help our channel grow, it would really mean a lot to us. I know Simon is going to have one hell of a after party show since he's been working the night shift. He is doing a reaction video to our streams on Wednesday. He usually does those on Thursday, so stay tuned for that. I'd love to have you guys come back sometime. And of course, Maya, when the next time we do a Dip a Toe Ladies Night, I would hope you would come
of course,
and join us.
I'll be there.
And Chris, if you ever want to dip a toe again, just let me know. We'd love to have you back. I want to thank you, Brooke and Keita and Amanda, for coming to the show. I really encourage everyone out there to go purchase this film. You can go to fruitionproductions.com. Tickets are like $14.99 for streaming. You can watch it over and over and over again and show it to all your family friends.
That is your digital copy when you purchase it. So
yeah. I mean, so it's always going to be yours. And I just highly recommend watching the film. I hope everyone has a wonderful Thanksgiving. And even as those of you in Canada that don't celebrate Thanksgiving, or you already had yours before, I hope you have a lovely Thursday and into your weekend. And so everyone who's watching, please stay tuned. Come back to the Dip a Toe show on Wednesday, 8 p.m. Same time, same bat channel. And I will see you all next time. Have a good evening.
Bye.